All right, the NFL season set to kick off in a little under 2 months, so we're kind of in that weird time. I haven't posted a video in like 2 weeks at this point, so we're going to go back through it. The off season's over, the draft's over, the season's about to start. I'm pretty sure every team is in camp. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do the wins, the ratio, how many wins is there going to be, and we're going to break down every team. This is kind of the list we have, so I'm just going to jump right into it. Starting with the 49ers, and I think for them, I'll put them in the category of, I would say, 11 to 13, because this is more because they had that awesome year last year. I get it. If you lose Brandon Ayuk, that could be a problem only because there's a lot of players that get injured on this roster, and Christian McCaffrey, obviously keep your fingers crossed. For the past 2 years, he's been healthy. That's not a usual thing for him. I could see him missing more time this year. He's just kind of due for it. So I'll put them in the 11 to 13. Without question, a playoff team. Then you go to Arizona. It's going to be 3 to 5. I think that, is there a world they get to that 6-7 games? Yeah, but there's just so much that they need to climb out of. Marvin Harrison Jr. might win Rookie of the Year. We'll see. It's going to come down to Kyler Murray's health for that. I think if Kyler Murray stays healthy through every game, they could win 8 games, but when has he ever done that before? So that's why I think they're in that range. The Falcons, going to be interesting. 8 to 10, 8 maybe on the low end of this. I think it's a 10-win team. I think it's a playoff team, given the division that they have, given that they were actually a somewhat viable team last year. Bijan Robinson going to be in year 2. You have a lot of weapons, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, who hasn't really proven himself yet, but you bring in Kirk Cousins. Now he is coming off the, I believe, torn Achilles, so we'll see what happens with that. But I think that they're about an 8-win team. Now the Ravens, I think they're right back to what they're doing here. I think that they're going to have another monster year. Lamar, if he stays healthy again, they're pretty much guaranteed to win. If he were to stay healthy for every game, they're pretty much guaranteed to win at least 12. I know it's the toughest division in football, but they had a really good year last year. I got to put them up here. With this, I believe they've gotten better at running back. There's certain places where they've gotten better, so that's why I'm putting them there. Cincinnati, I'm going to put them, and this is tough, but I'm going to say Burrow stays healthy. And if Burrow stays healthy, it's a guaranteed playoff team, and it's maybe one of the only teams that can contend, other than Baltimore. We saw Baltimore had their problems with the Chiefs. And like I said, if Burrow stays healthy, they're going to be fine. It looks like T. Higgins is coming back. It looks like there's guys that they're bringing back. So that's why I think it's safe to keep them there. If we go to Cleveland, got to put them in the 8 to 10. Love the roster around everybody except for the quarter. It comes down to Deshaun Watson. I'm going to make a video here soon about how I think, I haven't given up in Deshaun Watson yet, but this is a make or break year for him. And he hasn't been the same since those allegations. He's been decent. He has a good record with the Browns. I won't get too into Deshaun Watson in this video. But what I'm saying, the roster around it, you could make the debate it's a Super Bowl roster with the defense. Wide receiver, they're a little thin. They brought in Jerry Jeudy. We'll see what he can do. He was kind of underwhelming with the Broncos. But I like them 8 to 10. You never know. Same with Tampa. I think they're going to be competing with the Falcons. I think they're more an 8, maybe a bit of a fluke year last year, but you have guys like Mike Evans. You have a lot of star-driven people, so that's why I got to put them in that range. I think Buffalo has actually a pretty good year. I got them 11 to 13. When you have Josh Allen, a quarterback like that, you can make plays. The problem that I have with them is that receiver. Their receiver, very thin. You lost Diggs, you lost Gabe Davis, but I think they put it together. I think that they find a way to kind of figure it out, and they get to 11 wins and debatably win that division. Carolina, this is a dumpster fire. I could maybe put them 3 to 5. Bryce Young, I think this is the year where people are going to be completely done on him. And it's just, that's what shows you. It's like, if you're going to draft a quarterback that's that size and that kind of raw with an injury history, it can't be one of the worst rosters offensively in the NFL. Just can't be. And I'm going to actually move them up because I think they can maybe win 3 games, but it's on the low end of this. Chargers, I think you're in this range too if you're the Chargers. And I might move around the Bills, thinking about the wide receiver fact. But I think it's a team where you're going to get better. You have debatably a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I like some of their moves that they've made. And yeah, I think that this is a team that Harbaugh was a statistically good and winning coach in the NFL, and he's got Herbert now. The schemes are going to be good. I like them in the 11-13. Now, if you go to the Chicago Bears here, it gets interesting, but I think you got to put them in this category. No, actually, you know what? I'm not going to put them there yet. And this could be outrageous to some people. I need to see Caleb Williams play like 3 games before I make a decision with that. If he is good, then they're good. The roster's good. They've improved. I believe they won 7 games last year. It's going to come down to how good he is. So I'll leave them on the burner for a bit. Chiefs, it's going to be in this range. It might not be as impressive, but you do have to think about it. The roster they have this year is better than the one last year. Xavier Worthy, if he pops, you're looking at a really scary team that could be in that 14-plus conversation. If you remember last year, the last 3 weeks of the year, there was a stretch in late November where they were bad, and they just came around and won the Super Bowl. So I think, without question, a playoff team. It really depends from there. Colts, I think a lot of people are higher than they should be on the Colts. The division's getting tougher there. I think they're a 7-win team. It depends on Richardson, but this year is the year where we're going to find out if he can stay healthy. I think if he does stay healthy, he's a good quarterback. I like Shane Steichen, the head coach, but that's about it with them. For the Commanders here, I think that the roster's gotten better. I still think it's like a 5-win team. Jaden Daniels, he's going to have his back cut out for him. They did get Austin Eckler, but he's an aging back at this point. How much value does he really have? So that's why I think they're there. The Cowboys, it's going to be in this range of 8-10, but there's been a lot of drama in the offseason. Head coach is on the hot seat. They have debatably gotten worse in certain spots. So I got to put them in this 8-10. And I'm not saying it can't be 10, but they're not winning 12 games again this year. It's just not in the script, in my opinion. Broncos, I think that you have Sean Payton, you have a somewhat capable head coach. I don't know what Bo Nix is. I don't know if he'll be good in the league. It's going to come down to him. It's pretty much all I got with them. The Lions, they're in this upper category up here. I think, although the NFC North has gotten better, I think they win it. They probably should have went to the Super Bowl last year. Very good team, kind of like a younger 49ers. It's a lot I like about the Lions. I like their head coach, although he made some dumb moves at the end of the season. I think this is where I would put them. Green Bay, I think that they're in the 8-10, but they're probably at 10. Obviously, young roster. The thing about Jordan Love, people are really high on him. I think he can play. I think he's good. I don't know if he's as overhyped as, I wouldn't even call him overhyped, but I don't know if he's at the point where a lot of people think he became. I need to see a little bit more, but I think it's debatable that he's there, but I need to see just a little bit more before I make that decision. Houston's going to be in the same 8-10 category. There's going to be a lot of teams in this 8-10 category this year. But obviously you have C.J. Stroud, really, really solid quarterback, had a great rookie year. But even with that, and I'm a huge Stroud fan too, we got to see year 2. You never know. Dips can happen. D'Amico Ryan's great head coach. You got Stephon Diggs there. I forgot about the Stephon Diggs. We're going to put him up here for right now. But like I said, it's close. If I put him up there, it's 11 wins. It's not me saying that they're going to win 13 games. The Jags, they're going to be tailing them the whole year. They're going to be right in that range. Trevor Lawrence just got paid. It's probably the best roster that he's had with them. What does that mean, though? We're going to see it on the field. They got weapons like ETN. You got a good roster here. Defensively, they have the defensive Josh Allen. Good player. But yeah, we'll really see. And the Rams, like I said, there's going to be a lot of teams in this category this year where with the Rams, you have one of the best head coaches in the league. You have a quarterback who's aging, but still a really good player. And then you have just a lot of skill guys, Puka Nacua. So you have options there. So that's why they're in that range. And then Miami, another team where you got to put them up here. I think they're going to dip a little bit. I don't think that they can have the same consistency they had. I think Tua is getting in the way of them being a really nice roster. But they're definitely in this category. Minnesota, this is just what it is. You're at a point where you're Minnesota right now where you have a really generational wide receiver who I think Justin Jefferson's the best wide receiver in the NFL. I just struggle with the quarterback right now. Is McCarthy going to be ready? The NFL, as you can see with these teams, there's so many good teams out there. Their schedule is decent, but it's going to come down to J.J. McCarthy. I don't know if he's ready to take a big enough step to get them to an 8-win level team. We'll see, though. I think the Patriots are just not ready yet, but I think they win 3 games, 3 to 5 games, but that's about it. But between them, they're just not there yet. They have a lot of retooling to do. The Saints, like I said, it's not anything more than a 7-win team. If you think there's just not enough there. I like Chris Olave. Derek Carr is decent, but he's a poor man's Kirk Cousins, which you never want to be that. And I just don't see them doing more than that. Giants could be really bad this year. Offensively, look at it. Other than Malik Neighbors, the guy that they drafted from LSU, no Saquon. You have arguably the worst quarterback in the NFL, Daniel Jones, who they just believe in for some reason. So, yeah, that's a very sketchy scenario with the Giants. The Jets, I'm going to put them in the 8 to 10. But listen, Aaron Rodgers, we don't really know how good he is because he digressed in that 2022 year, and he barely played in the year. Obviously, he played 4 plays because he tore his Achilles. And it's all right, we don't know what he is. So that's something that's going to need to be figured out, and that's going to determine their season. Great defense, one true great wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. If we're going to the next team, the Raiders, this is going to be the worst team in football. Worst team in football, guaranteed. It's a mess there. I think that Devontae Adams holds out at some point. You don't have a quarterback. It's terrible. Eagles, they're in this range for me at this point. I like Hurts. I somewhat like the coach, but he could be on the way out. The defense is good. They got better at running back, obviously, Saquon Barkley, but we'll see. And they might be up here, but we'll keep them right there. There's so many 8 to 10 win teams in this league, and the Steelers are right there. Obviously, this is the safe place to put them because they're usually an 8-9 team. The thing that I have with them is their defense, obviously, really good. I think they have a good tandem of running backs. Pickens is a future star receiver. But where I struggle with them is at that quarterback spot, I feel like that could get really janky. I feel like that could get really dramatic because you're going to have the young guy Fields, and if Russell Wilson underperforms, it could be a mess. But if Russell Wilson is decent, then you got a shot here if you're the Steelers to maybe win that 11 games. But I'm going to put them right here, right now. Seattle, I think maybe there's a dip. There's just so many good teams out there, and they have a great roster. Absolutely great roster. But we'll see if Geno Smith regresses this year, and I think it's very possible. And then Tennessee, I got no choice but to put them right here because I actually kind of like a lot of parts of their roster. You have Tony Pollard now, and Levis. Levis is a really strong armed quarterback. We just really don't know what he is right now. So this is pretty much the list that I have. And I even think that it's debatable that maybe a team won't win 14 games this year. I'm just putting the Ravens up here and I think you can maybe move, although I said those things about the injuries, you could maybe move the 49ers up here. But it's tough to win 14 games, and there's a lot of, if you can tell, there's a lot of good teams in the NFL this year. I really think there's only one team that's absolutely terrible, maybe two, maybe three. But this is what I got right here. Comment, let me know what you think about this list.